Hello, my little friends. Welcome back to Guapo's Tales. We continue with another adventure from Rassie's stories. Today's story's name is The Herd Tortoise. The long grass near the fields was golden and dry, and its whispering tips was brushing against Rassie's knees as he walked through it. And the afternoon sun beat down with a gentle, insistent heat, smelling of baked earth and wild thyme. Rassie was on his way to fetch water for the chickens. He had to give them water every day. The empty bucket was swinging in his hand when he nearly tripped. He caught himself just in time, his foot hovering inches above a small, mottled shape on the path. He looked down and he saw a tortoise, its shell a beautiful mosaic of browns and blacks, struggling to move. "Hello there," Rassie said softly, kneeling down on the hot ground. He noticed something was terribly wrong. The tortoise was not moving quickly. Not that tortoises move quickly anyways, but they can. And this one was moving particularly slowly and with great effort, his little legs moving weakly. And then Rassie saw it, a long straight crack in the tortoise's shell. It was a clear, fresh wound, a jagged line that ran almost the full length of its dome, and the poor creature seemed to be in immense pain. Its head was withdrawn, and its ancient, tired eyes blinked slowly. Rassie's heart went out to the little creature. He knew in an instant that he couldn't leave it there to suffer in the open sun. He carefully picked it up, cradling it in his hands, and it was heavier than he expected, a solid weight of bone and shell. He could feel its small heart beating against his palm, a rapid flutter that made his own heart ache with concern. Holding it gently, he turned and walked carefully towards the house, his mission to get water totally forgotten. He held the tortoise close to his chest. His steps were slow and deliberate, determined not to jar the injured creature. When he got close to the house, he called out, "Mom, Dad, I found a little hurt tortoise." His voice was a mix of alarm and urgency as he reached the back porch. Tannie Mika and Oom Corneels came out. Their faces were immediately filled with concern as they saw the small, injured animal in Rassie's hands. Tannie Mika took the tortoise with practiced gentleness and examined its shell. She's done this before. "Oh, poor little thing," she said softly, her fingers tracing the jagged crack. "It must have been stepped on, maybe by a goat or a cow that didn't see it in the long grass." Corneels went inside and came back with a small bowl of warm, soapy water and a soft bristled brush. "We need to clean the wound, Rassie," he explained. "We can't let it get infected." Rassie watched with fascination and a little worry as his mom and dad carefully began to clean the crack. Corneels used the warm water to soften the dirt, while Tannie Mika used the soft brush to delicately clean the edges of the wound. The tortoise remained still as if it knew it was in kind hands. Tannie Mika then went back inside and came back with a small wooden tub of a special all-natural antiseptic cream that she had made herself from wild herbs that grew everywhere on the farm. The cream smelled earthy and fresh, crushed leaves. You want to almost stick your nose into it the whole time. She gently applied it to the crack, making sure the wound was completely covered with the thick, soothing paste. The shell will heal over time, she explained to Rassie, her voice calm and reassuring. It's a long process, but a tortoise's shell is very strong. It's like your bones, Rassie, and like bones, it will slowly mend itself. We just have to make sure it's kept clean and safe while it does. They found a large, clean cardboard box and filled it with some fresh leaves from the garden and a small, shallow bowl for water. Rassie put some cool, clean water in the bowl. They carefully placed the tortoise inside its new temporary home. Rassie was given the job of taking care of it while it's healing, a responsibility he took with great pride. Every day he would go out to the box and talk to the little tortoise in a low, soothing voice. He would check its water, put in clean water and replace the old leaves with new ones and put in some tidbits of vegetables like carrots and cabbage that tortoises like. And he'd also gently apply some more of the cream to its shell. He learned that a tortoise's shell was part of its body, just like his bones, and that it took a very long time to repair. He watched as the tortoise slowly began to move more freely, poking its head out to look at him, and its eyes no longer tired, but alert and curious. Weeks went by, and Rassie's daily care paid off. The crack on the shell was starting to close up, with a thin layer of shell forming over the wound. The tortoise was moving more, eating happily, and it seemed to be much better. Finally, one early morning, when Cornelius came to the box and looked at the tortoise, he smiled, a genuine warm smile. "I think it's time," he said. "It's time to put it back in the felt." Rassie felt a mix of happiness and a bit of sadness as well. He had grown so used to seeing this little tortoise every day. He carefully picked it up and one last time gave it a small little hug, feeling its now strong and steady heartbeat against his hand. And he carried it back to the spot where he'd found it, the sun just beginning to warm the golden grass. He knelt down and he gently placed the tortoise on the ground. The tortoise was a little shy, but slowly it peeked out of its shell, looked around, stretched its neck, and then started looking around at the wide, familiar world, a world that he knew. Then, with a slow, confident step, it crawled away into the long grass, a tiny, resilient creature on its way to recovery. Rassie felt a huge sense of happiness, a feeling that was deeper and richer than he had ever felt before. He hadn't just helped the tortoise, he'd learned something very important. He realized that showing kindness and care, even to the smallest and most vulnerable creatures, is important. He'd seen firsthand how a simple act of compassion could make a world of difference. And that was a lesson he would carry with him forever. He learned that fear doesn't have to control you, and that staying calm and thinking clearly is the best response to a dangerous situation or to helping someone in need. It was a lesson he knew he'd never forget. and one he would teach others in his adventures to come. I hope you enjoyed the story. Fluit, fluit, my storie is uit.